Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spinnin' Prog with me, Tara. I hope you're all doing really well today, and this is a very exciting video because today we are talking about psychedelia in Prog. Now, I'm delighted because I did a little poll on the community page here on the channel and I let you all vote for what we were going to do next, following up from the fusion video. So it was psychedelia, cinematic prog, or science fiction in prog, and you all went for psychedelia, yes, which is what I wanted to do next anyway, so thanks guys. So psychedelia, right? This is a really interesting thing to talk about. What is the definition of it? The definition is the use or the partaking of drugs such as LSD, acid, mushrooms, hallucinogenics pretty much. But how did that come into music? So the culture that came from psychedelic drugs influenced music because people wanted to start playing with things and experimenting. So they were going in and using mad studio techniques, stuff like TV shows and movies and stuff were like electronically being put into music via sound effects and that. But then people also started to improvise a lot and do these big experimental instrumental sections and stuff in music, which is odd. You know, why did it take the psychedelic culture to make them do that? Who knows? You'd have to have been there at the time, wouldn't you? Which is around the 1960s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about, of course I did an episode over on Prog Radio on psychedelia, and I'm going to talk about the artists I included in that episode. So of course the first one was one of the pioneers of psychedelia and rock. It is of course Mr. Jimi Hendrix, and I played the title track of Are You Experienced? Jimmy was really fascinated with strange production techniques. Of course, Mitch Mitchell was in the band, who worked with Joe Meek, one of the greatest producers ever, who did some really groundbreaking stuff, and that was Joe Meek. And Jimmy was very much fascinated with Joe and how he did all these things in the studio, because they were different times. You know, you can't do everything you can do now at the click of your fingers. So Jimmy starts playing with like weird techniques, like backwards tapes and stuff like that, and he really was a pioneer. By Jesus, like some man for one man. But yeah, so Jimmy takes the influence of Joe Meek and all that and puts it into the music, and that's where it all starts to come together in rock. Of course I have Axe's Bold as Love and Electric Ladyland here as well, just to show like all of these albums were groundbreaking when it comes to psychedelia. And another one, Revolver by the Beatles. This is a very experimental album. I have Sgt. Pepper sitting there as well because that was too. But yeah, so George Harrison mainly was the LSD user in the band. They all kind of dabbled a tiny bit, but George was more so into it than the others. And they take this psychedelic kind of way of experimenting with the music along with world music and stuff, because they started using sitars and all that Indian kind of music in here. And of course Tomorrow Never Knows is like, it's just one of those songs, if someone says psychedelic music to you, that pops into your head straight away, because that's mad, like. And yeah, the Beatles, Revolver, fantastic one. Now, another band that comes to mind for me with psychedelia is Traffic. They were known for that kind of whimsical, folky sound, but they started to drift into this experimental psychedelic thing. And Dear Mr. Fantasy is what I went with for the show. Absolutely fantastic tune. It's about a tortured soul, you know, trying to help other people into escapism, pretty much, which is quite dark. But darkness was actually a common theme in this psychedelia, you know. You're thinking it's all this, woo, yeah, man, like everything is great, colourful, crazy. But a lot of the time, it went into these dark themes touching off death and everything as well sometimes, which we'll get into more in a while. But yeah, Dear Mr. Fantasy by Traffic, brilliant psychedelic tune. And now, you can't have psychedelia without gong, can you? Angel's Egg, I think, you could have picked anything from the Flying Teapot trilogy realistically, but I went with a couple of tracks off Angel's Egg. I think it's just fantastic. This is a copy I got from Cody's store, actually, Second Chance Records in Caledonia. And I was delighted because I saw a copy of it in Manchester once. And I picked it up and I was going, Jesus, that's a cool one to come across. And then me with my female brain, I was like, well, I might want to buy more clothes and stuff, so I'll put it back for now. And then I never went back for it, and I didn't come across it since, and it's been a few years now. So when I saw it in Cody's store, I was like, oh my god! And this is an odd little record store day edition of it, which is cool. Now, what I like about this is there's a little storybook in here. Hang on, I'll just show you the inside there. And the back, you can see all the ramblings that were going into the album. But there's a little storybook in here, and it actually tells the story of Radio Gnome Invisible. Delighted. Can't express how delighted I am that I've got this. So we've got all the characters here on the first page, such as the Cockpot Pixie and Pussy. But oh yeah, there's the prostitute too. So I'll read the first little bit, the story up till now, just because I want to get into talking about like eccentricity and storytelling in psychedelia. So in the first part, entitled Flying Teapot, the mother planet sends down one of its wee green pointy-headed well-propellered population by flying teapot to planet Earth, where it lands in Tibet and is met by 3 Earthmen who have been mysteriously forewarned by a kind of telepathic brain-to-brain radio network of no-gnome frequency called Radio Gnome Invisible. I mean, come on, like, that's just brilliant. So gong. So something else you'd notice in psychedelia is storytelling fueled by eccentricity. And Dave Allen and Jilly Smith just had a hold on that so good. And it just, the whole trilogy, Flying Teapot, Angel's Egg and You, are just one of the best examples of psychedelia and prog, by far. I'm sure a lot of you know this anyway, but if you don't know it, please check it out because it's fantastic. Alright, so let's move on. So what next? Hawkwind. I have a habit of playing Hawkwind over on Prog Radio, actually. But of course, they had to be in the psychedelia episode. And what did I play? The ending of The Church of Hawkwind is what I went for. Because it's all this real experimental sound, like, and they did that in all their albums. There was mad, like, spoken word and sound effects and studio effects used. At the end of The Church of Hawkwind, the news report that happened when JFK was shot is what starts playing under this crazy psychedelic sounding music. And I think that's incredible. Like, wow. I remember the first time I picked it up on vinyl and I sat down and I was listening to it and that started going on and I was like, what the what's going on here? It was brilliant, crazy, so clever. Imagine just like coming up with something like that. I think it's fantastic. Alright, so next is, you can see I have a saucer full of secrets here. And Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun is one of my favourite psychedelic songs because I heard it at a very early age, so it's very kind of nostalgic when I hear it. But Syd Barrett, of course, comes into Pink Floyd, and he implemented that psychedelic aspect to the music. Now, of course, he would end up losing his mind, literally, to the LSD, which was very sad and frightening, actually. But his legacy still is living on because, Pink Floyd are huge, everyone loves them. And what he put into the music with that psychedelia was always there even after he left. And yeah, so it set the controls for The Heart of the Sun. I know he didn't have a hand in that song, like, he only really had a hand in Jug Band Blues on that album, and that's an absolutely frightening song because you can tell he's just fried, you know. But yeah, absolutely fantastic tune, weird effects, weird kind of lyrics in there, and, you know, just odd, but really cool, really awesome. So what's next? Oh, Iron Butterfly, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Played the entire thing on Prog Radio. The whole song, like no radio edits or anything like that, the whole thing. Just, it's one of those classics, like, from the kind of hippie psychedelic era. You know, it came into my mind straight away and I had to go in there, and that's all I have to say about it. Alright. And next is Ozric Tentacles. So whenever I think of Gong, Ozric Tentacles is never far behind for some reason. I think they used to support Gong a lot or something. I don't know what it is, it's just the way my brain kind of makes these connections. So I had Ozric Tentacles in there anyway, and Ozric Tentacles are very electronic-y kind of dance stuff put in with prog in a way, and this psychedelic thing. They're odd, they're weird, like I find it hard to put them in a specific genre actually. But I personally think they are very proggy, and I like to play them on Prog Radio sometimes. So I pull out the song Stretchy and I put that into the playlist, and it fit in very well, it did. Yeah, they're a very kind of psychedelic thing as well. I must say I do enjoy a bit of electronica with prog, and especially with that psychedelic aspect with Ozric Tentacles. It was cool. It was pretty cool. So then I went for something a little bit more modern, because when you think of psychedelia, you go back a lot to kind of Strawberry Alarm Clock and the Zombies and stuff like that. So it's like, I need to put in something a bit more modern, and King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, of course, they have a lot of albums for a modern band. Like, yeah, they've been around for a while now, like probably over 10 years or something. But they've come out with a lot of work. And every album is influenced by a different kind of subgenre of music. So they have like space rock, metal, psychedelia, jazz, country is the latest one, I think. They've electronica with Psy-Boogie and stuff. So I pulled out a couple of tracks from Flying Microtonal Banana, because that one is very kind of, you can hear a lot of Hawkwind in there and a lot of prog in there as well, but that psychedelic kind of sound influenced it big time. So yeah, I had to throw that in there, get a bit of modern stuff going. And if you haven't listened to it, please check it out, because it's pretty cool, and we have to support these modern bands, guys. We need to keep this genre alive. And last but not least, I put in a bit of Eli. Now, if you watch the vinyl tag I just did with Cody, there was a question asking, what's a band you've just gotten into in 2024? And mine was Eli. I knew of them kind of vaguely, but I hadn't listened to them. And I think I was sitting listening to Prog Radio one day, and something from Silent Cries and Mighty Echoes came on, and I was like, whoa, this is class. So I started diving into the discography, and I was blown away. They're absolutely brilliant, like. So for this psychedelic episode, I pulled out a track from Ocean. Excuse me. And I think it was Poseidon's Creation or something, which starts off totally instrumental, really odd. And then it goes into this weird, like the lyrics come in, it's this weird concept and mad story, mad music behind it, just really cool. Really cool stuff. So anyway, this is my little psychedelia video. I don't want to go on too long because YouTube seems to like it when I keep my videos shorter. And I'm going to try and do that from now on. I can't thank you enough for all the love on the Fusion video. Like, I was a bit self-conscious about it because it's just me sitting here chatting away to myself pretty much, and it did so well, and you were so nice about it, and I'm just so glad people are enjoying it, because I do I do like sitting here talking to myself. No, I love discussing the music and all these weird little things that influenced it and stuff. So thank you very much for all the support, and I hope you enjoy this one, because this was fun to do, and like I said before, I love talking about stuff like this. So yeah, please like and subscribe, helps me so much. And of course, I will talk to you all in the comments. I love hearing your opinions on this stuff, and it's nice to have a little discussion. So I will see you all in the next video, which is going to be science fiction in Prog. Bye!